Welcome back to ADUIC. I am your host, Neftali Holden. YouTube has suggested a video to me. It was a debate between Sicari and some Mexican named Qana Lawath, who's upset with channels like mine, which promotes a Black-only Israel. I was very intrigued with the title and had to see what this debate was all about. As I was watching the debate, I came to the realization that our people do not recognize the severity of how dangerous this doctrine is. I've seen and received many comments similar to this one, and this comment let me know how they truly feel about us. It says, niggers don't realize that Hispanics are taking over. We are not going to be with them. We're going to control them. We will establish the new elite just like Latin America. Well, I'm not surprised, and you shouldn't be either. They have been letting us know this for a while now. See, Sicari did not take this debate serious and laughed it off as if it was a joke. Now, Qana was doing his best impersonation of a scholar and professor, pleading his case to Sicari on why we so-called blacks and Africans are Canaanites and not Israel. Meanwhile, I'm receiving comments from a confused Hispanic calling me dumb and said Angel Garcia is black. He just doesn't know it. Well, let's see what Angel Garcia has to say about that.
Well, you're Puerto Rican. Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican, you're right. I'm half European because my family's from Europe. All Latinos got Europeans in them. We all mixed with Europeans, bro. And some of us got black in us. It's the black Puerto Ricans you see, they're the ones that got Africans in them. And the light-skinned ones are Europeans.
Oh, wow. That's awful.
Now, after watching that clip, it appears, at least to me, Angel Garcia knows exactly what he is. Basically, what he is saying is the white ones are Caucasians and the black ones are Hebrews. Now, the question is, why come more of them are not black? Well, let's see what Omar La Negra has to say about this.
Yeah, and you talked about how, I'm not sure if it was your family or other families were saying not to bring, not to have a baby with a dark-skinned man because of the race. Can you explain that?
Yeah. Okay, so unfortunately, I know that a lot of Latinos don't like to talk about it, and somewhat, I can get crucified for saying things like this, but it is the truth. And I know that a lot of people like to cover the sun with one finger and pretend that the issue is not there, but that's what's happening. That because nobody wants to talk about it, it's been happening for years and years and years, and nobody is actually being vocal about it in a peaceful manner. So therefore, I decided to talk about it. Yes, it happens. We can be, and let me not generalize, a lot of Latinos can be very racist amongst their own community. You could be my cousin, and if you're 2 shades lighter than me, I'm not as black as you are. Wait a second. As if that's an issue. So one of the things that I get all the time is like, oh my God, you're so pretty for being a black girl. Or, you have such great features. Don't get married to no.
A lot of the wide nose, big lip Negroes.
Black man with like a big nose and big lips, and they're gonna mess up your children type of thing, as if that's a problem.
With each generation, they are whiting out any black DNA so they can quote-unquote better the race. Well, all praises to the Most High. While they're bettering their race, we're able to preserve ours. Speaking of genetics, let's take a look at theirs and see if their genetics confirm what Amar and Angel said.
What's up? I'm gonna give you my Ancestry DNA results. I got them retaken. I did it last year. I retook it again, and it hasn't changed. So here we go. To let you know that they updated their website and their findings, and they made a few changes. I'll go along with the changes with you. This is how it goes. So there's you have to have more than 15% to prove that you have this. Solidifies like you really do have ancestry from this part of the world. There's a new thing called low confidence region. You have traces of your DNA coming from that part of the world, but you don't have enough to say, yes, you have it. So they screwed up whatever their thing here, but anyway, it's still the same. So it says totals here, 14% Africa, and it was all low confidence regions. So there wasn't enough in there. European is 69% total, but the most regions that I got the most amount from were from Italy, Greece,
Ooh, what? That's crazy. Oh my gosh. I'm like literally like shaking right now. And then 1.2% broadly East Asian. That makes sense too, like, because like technically we all came from like China, I guess.
Just got the email that my fucking DNA results are back, which it was way faster than I expected. So I'll put all the like pictures on the side. So I am 43.1% European. So I have 43% East Asian and Native American. And then I have 4.5% Sub-Saharan African. Literally from everywhere around the world, like I'm a fucking mutt, which is awesome and so cool. Like, you know, I think like I'm so shocked. I'm fucking black, and you know what that means? That means that I have like, that must mean that I have some type of like ancestor that was probably like black. I know 4.5% isn't a lot.
So the first thing that comes up is, hello Tanya, genetic ancestry. Okay, so it says, I'm 5% African. I'm 2% Asian. I'm 53% European. And it says from Iberian Peninsula. And it says America, 36%. And then it says Native American. So I'm pretty sure that's my Mexican side.
So my DNA traces back to 8 ethnicities. 84.5%, these are the top ones, 84.5% Central American, and 6.1% Scandinavian, and then the other 9.4% are the other ethnicities. Okay, then moving on, I have 2.4% Africa, and that is West Africa.
Let's just check. I'm clicking your reports. I'm so nervous. It says Ancestry Reports. Discover the story of your ancient ancestors, your origins, and your ancestral background. Okay. Wow. My ancestry composition says 42.4% Native American, maternal haplogroup U6A7, Neanderthal ancestry. If you were Neanderthal variants, then 80% of customers. 45.7% European, 29.8% Iberian, I don't know what that is, 0.7% Ashkenazi Jewish, 45.1% East Asian and Native American. And I am 1.2% Western Asian and North African with 0.9% North African and Arabian.
There's still 2 rules on the fucking Latino tonight. You marry somebody black, you marry somebody black, you marry somebody black, you marry somebody black.
And we are treated differently. A lot of Latinos don't want my kind mixed into their family because they didn't want to better the race. And better the race means more European features. Yeah.
Men lie, women lie, but the Most High and genetics don't lie. These clips verified everything that Amara, Angel, and Qana said. These people are Europeans as well as Native Americans, and they share the same genetics with the people from East Asia.
Especially in like China and like the East and stuff, they were there from before.
Because like technically we all came from like China, I guess.
And then if I'm not mistaken, even to Southeast Asia. One of the brothers was talking about that the other day. So are we just counting the ones here in America, or are we counting the ones that are in East Asia as well? Because we still have Hebrews in East Asia, Northern Kingdom, that didn't come with us here. You know that, right?
Did you say that it's happening from America post 1492?
Post 1492, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you want like records of being shipped to like Japan and shit like that.
Bring it out.
So that came from Africa. But like I said, Canaan was cursed to serve all the nations. You know what I mean? To serve Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Here and try to claim fucking to be Chicano, bro. They try to claim they sit here and fucking because they gave us their last names on their plantations and their fucking silver mines. They want to sit here and try to claim the same people. Fuck no, dude. Fuck no, I ain't having none of that shit, bro. See, okay. That's my same thing, but with the Africans trying to do that. See, I'm fucking fair, bro. That's my judgment. I do that shit for fucking the white people trying to claim our shit, and I do that shit for the black people trying to claim our shit, dude. I'm protecting fucking Israel, bro. I don't give a shit about any of the other goddamn nations. I care about Israel.
But on the other hand, it only makes logical sense that Qana would start his own doctrine. Everything these false teachers use to support the Hispanics and Native Americans as Israelites makes a bigger case for us so-called blacks to be Canaanites. These false teachers preach that the 400-year prophecy has long been passed because of what happened to the Taínos, Aztecs, and Mayans.
We're talking about Peru and Chile, home of the Incas. People being burned to death, forced labor. Okay, not quite what I want. There's the hangings, the lynchings, Spaniards putting them on plantations to work in silver mines. Oh, here we go. Aha! Aha! All right, so it's in American Holocaust, Oxford, page 88. I'm just gonna get this because it's in the same paragraph. So I'm gonna say, it says, despite all the savage face-to-face cruelties, however, it was enslavement on the Spaniards' plantations and in their silver mines, in addition to the introduced diseases and starvation that killed most of the Indians directly. Immediately upon entering this region, the conquistadors laid waste to the Incas' roads and bridges, architectural terraces, and canals. They looted heavily stocked storehouses and granaries, and gratuitously slaughtered llamas by the thousands. It is said, wrote one of the later Spanish officials, that the soldiers killed great numbers of llamas simply to eat the marrow fat, and the rest of the meat was wasted. Others describe the Spaniards' almost unbelievable destruction of agriculture and animal life in this way, wrote one. All the foods, the vegetables, llamas, alpacas that were in the valley and district were totally consumed, added Pascual de Andagoya as early as 1539. But the Indians are being totally destroyed and lost. They beg with the cross to be given food for the love of God, because by that point, they had been jacking us up with Christianity.
And that is the furthest thing from the truth. These false teachers want us to believe that in 1519, the conquistadors invaded and conquered the Aztecs with 500 men, musket guns blazing. See, the Aztecs and Incas were known to be ruthless warriors with armies 550,000 men strong, so the tall tale these white supremacists are telling sounds more like Mission Impossible. So how did the Aztecs and Incas fall to their defeat? See, the Aztec god Quetzalcoatl, who they credited with the creation of life, was said to return to Earth. Quetzalcoatl was said to be a god with white skin. So when Hernan Cortés arrived during this prophetic time, the Aztecs greeted the conquistadors with a party of great honor. So much for the guns blazing narrative. Now, while the Aztecs were doing their best to make sure the so-called conquistadors felt at home, the Spanish were sending Francisco Pizarro Gonzalez with only 200 men in 1533 to the land of the Incas. Now, if you're wondering why they sent so few men, it's because Europe was going through the Black Plague epidemic, which killed off 50% of more of their population. Europe was in a fallen state, with trash and dead bodies piling up in the middle of their streets. The Spanish left out of desperation to find new land. Francisco, born a poor bastard who could not read, set out to the Incas. Francisco was well aware that the Incas were in the middle of a civil war amongst themselves, so he knew they were in a vulnerable state. He also knew that their secret weapon of Black Plague and smallpox would be their deadly blow needed to finish the job. It took Francisco and his men 40 years to spread their infectious diseases to the Incas, completely annihilating them to the point the Europeans were able to conquer the land. Now, I guess it's sad what happened to these people, but in nowhere near the same level as to what happened to my ancestors. The Most High sent them strong delusions and they handed their land over to the Europeans with the red carpet treatment and all. The Most High warned us with Deuteronomy 13, if there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, well, the dreamer was Arioch and the 12 tribes chart was the sign. See, in 1650, a Portuguese Jew by the name of Manasseh ben Israel wrote the book, The Hope for Israel. In this book, Manasseh explained the importance of gathering Israel and who Israel was. He believed the people who lived in the jungles of Ecuador, the South American Andes, Peru, Venezuela, and those who were Native American descent were the lost children of Israel. I guess Manasseh and Arioch shared the same dream.
Now, you got a lot of the wide-nosed, big-lipped Negroes who are upset about the Mexicans.
Now, because of these self-hating false teachers, we so-called blacks would never learn to love ourselves, our wide noses and big lips. We will continue to put ourselves down and uplift another people. Sicari allowed Qana to get off way too many claims. He stated that the reason why we so-called blacks are scattered around the earth is because as servants of Shem and Japheth, we had to be where they are to serve them. And this also explains why we were held captive and brought on ships. My response to Qana is this. In 1889, there was an emperor by the name of Menelik II, also known as the Lion of Judah, one of Ethiopia's fiercest leaders. We can trace his lineage to the union of King Solomon of ancient Israel and the Queen of Sheba. The reason why Ethiopia was never colonized was because Ethiopia was an African superpower. Menelik opened the first modern bank of Ethiopia, the postal system, initiated work on the railway, electricity, the telephone, telegraph, the motor car, and modern plumbing. By the mid-1890s, Menelik was actively suppressing slave trade, destroying notorious slave market towns, and punishing slavers with amputation. The Ethiopians' army was very disciplined and organized with the best advanced machinery. The Italians in 1896 tried to invade and colonize Ethiopia and failed miserably in the Battle of Adwa. In 1936, Italy invaded Ethiopia after signing a peace treaty again, and this time dropped gas bombs, killing over hundreds of thousands of people. They burned down cities and slaughtered thousands of animals. The Italians caused over $100 million worth of damages and never repaid a dime of reparations. Sounds familiar? But they did not destroy everything. The city of Addis Ababa still stands, because that is where the Ark of the Covenant is. Don't let these false teachers give away your birthright with their folly. And with that, I'm out. Thank you so much for watching. Shalom.
Let me fucking finish talking, you piece of shit.
If your father's of Indian, Mexican descent, and you are an Israelite, whether you hate black people, say it again. Whether you hate black people, say it again. I said that's a damn racist Mexican. And if Dad, you're watching this, dude, you know. Yeah. You don't like black people. Right.
Would say stuff like that, like, oh my God, you're so pretty, you need to be with a European man, or you need to be with an Italian, a French, a this, a that, a gringo, a this, that, but never, don't be with a black guy or a Latino or because you need to better the race, you need to better the family.
Well, you're Puerto Rican. Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican, you're right. I'm half European because my family's from Europe. All Latinos got Europeans in them. We all mixed with Europeans, bro. And some of us got black in us. It's the black Puerto Ricans you see, they're the ones that got Africans in them. And the light-skinned ones are Europeans.
Are we mightier? Are the Israelites mightier than the Canaanites?
No.
They're not?
No.
Why
because Deuteronomy 7 says so. And don't you guys always say that black people are the most dominant physically people on this earth?
Okay, let me bring out a scripture.
If not, then who is?